Welcome to the 95th episode of the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. My name's Colleen.
And my name is May. Welcome to returning viewers, and for those of you watching us for the first time, we're so glad you could join us. I know it's been a little while, but Colleen has had a perfect excuse for not being here. Her mom had quite a fall, and if you watch through the podcast, you'll see that we'll show your pictures with Colleen's mom's permission, of course.
Absolutely.
And you will see this fall was quite a fall, and so Colleen is still ongoing the primary caregiver for that. Anyway, it's been quite the ordeal. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the podcast. And also our adventure today takes us to Meaford, Ontario. Meaford, Ontario is kind of in between, I would say, Collingwood and Owen Sound. It's the tip, not really the tip of Georgian Bay, but on the coast of Georgian Bay.
Right.
Really nice little waterfront there. If you ever get a chance to go there, it's a perfect spot. And we're excited to talk to you about that. We did visit Meaford in the summer. But we never got an opportunity to talk about the podcast there, and now is our opportunity.
Perfect.
But before we begin all that, Colleen will talk about what we're wearing.
All right, so let's first of all talk about what May is wearing. She's wearing the AQ cowl by Hilary Smith Callis. And what's really nice about this is it's similar to the Anguli cowl, but this one, if you get yourself some self-striping yarn, it will work really well. Now, this is not what this is, but it is Barocco Comfort Sock. And so I've got another ball that will make you another lovely cowl at some point in time. But I know it's called Comfort Sock for a reason. So it is 50% nylon, 50% acrylic, so it's easy to take care of and nice around your neck.
It's like wearing a sock around your neck. And it's self-striping and all that, so you didn't do that. It just kind of the yarn does all that. It's kind of nice. I like the color. Of course, it's purple.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's nice.
Exactly. And so that's what May's wearing, and I'm wearing the Perfectionist Trap, and that's by Casey Herlihy. And this is a wonderful pattern. So it uses DK weight yarn. I used Barocco Vintage DK. And I really, really like it. I had some leftover, so I didn't need quite 2 skeins, but I really, really like it. It's got some lovely stripes that add texture. So I would suggest using like a tonal yarn or a lighter colored yarn because it will definitely show up. But it's a nice, easy knit. This would have been great to be knitting in the hospital when I was helping with my mom. But that's what I'm wearing. So next we're going to talk about finished objects. My first finished object is another Hilary Smith Callis pattern, and it's called the Star Shower. And they say in the pattern that it is a hybrid between a shawl and a cowl. So it's a little bit bigger. And so here it is. And this yarn is by Things Created Equal. It's the basic sock, but it's a cup of cheer. And this is that color that is that brown, but it's got a mauvey tinge to it, so I think that's why I fell in love with it. It's not that much different than what's in the pattern itself. And
it's a little tonal, Colleen. Like there's a couple of little different colors of shades of brown in there.
Exactly. So I'm really happy with it. Haven't worn it yet, but I think that would be nice. It would sit nice under a coat. Right. Exactly.
And the front is a little shorter here. I don't know which way you'd put it on. I guess you'd have to.
So this is the back, and so this is actually going to come up here this way, and then it'll drape more in the front.
Oh, I see. Yeah. It looks more like the picture then.
Exactly. So they have to leave enough to get it over your head. But
really nice. I like this. It's a little different.
Exactly. And I like the texture and I like the openness of it.
And the little diamonds in there. Great.
Yeah. It's a great pattern. I recommend that highly.
Nice.
All right. So that's my first finished object. Now my next finished object isn't knitting, but it is, we looked at these before, and it's by Maker's Lodge. And what they do is they put holes in wood, and then you are allowed to do embroidery. And so I ordered these, and the nice thing is they're flat, and so shipping is very minimal. And then I put cork on the back, I put some ribbon on the front, and so we got lots of lovely letters. Now, I'd love to make these and put something else in the middle so you don't have to worry so much about what's going on that way.
So how are your fingers? Was a little rough getting the needle through there?
Well, I think you had to find the right embroidery needle. At one point in time, I said, May, okay, that's 5 needles I've broken. And it has to do with, you just have to learn how to deal with it. But I was really happy with these cork backings because I just bought them from Amazon. and they stick
and they
really
have
well.
different sizes, I think, on Amazon.
Yeah.
This was maybe a 3-inch
Exactly.
size, and there's a
Exactly.
perfect circle for other craft projects. They're great too.
So Christmas presents are ready.
Now the ribbon, this didn't come with the ribbon,
No,
obviously, and you
I
had to go to Michael's for the ribbon.
and there were a couple of reds. I chose the darker of the two, and I think that
Right,
was nice.
and so you've got everybody's in the family. You've got all their
Yes, so the mums have received theirs because I wanted them to have them to put them up early. But when we see everybody at Christmas,
Right.
we've got those.
Those turned out really nice, and
Thanks.
people appreciate those for their Christmas tree.
Exactly.
I love giving ornaments because every year you kind of pull them out,
Exactly.
and then you put them. You don't, if you don't have a tree, if you do Hanukkah and you don't have a tree, you can
Right.
always display them up there on something
Exactly.
else, which is great. Yeah, so
Exactly.
that's good.
So that's those. Now my next pattern is another Casey Hurley pattern, and it's called Static. And I really, really like this one. So
It's nice.
guess what?
Wow,
purple.
this did turn out nice.
So this is Barocco Comfort DK. And so once again, it's 50% nylon, 50% fine. It's very similar to your sock yarn.
Nice and soft, yeah.
It is nice and soft. And I like a cowl underneath a coat. And because you are carrying colors, it's going to make it a little thicker and a little warmer.
And you have a coat that will actually absolutely go with this.
I
That's great.
absolutely do.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good
so I'm
job
very
on
happy
that.
with that. Casey Hurley does a good job with her patterns. Easy to understand, that's for sure.
Nice.
All right.
Anything else? I know you've been busy with your mom, but
Right.
and we'll get to that after, and we'll show you some pictures, and we'll talk about your mom later on, maybe in the souvenir section. So you haven't been able to do well, unless you've been with your mom and you've been knitting, have you?
I was doing a little bit of work on some crocheted towel topper kind of things,
Oh,
just
okay.
because I needed something that I could focus on her and just do while she was sleeping. But I know haven't done one of these for a while, so I've had a little bit more knitting done. So my next finish object is called the Ivor, and that's by Soren Claire Kerr.
And this is the one you did the sweater of, right? Like you did a sweater, and now
right.
this is just
So there is an Anders sweater, and then she's done some other patterns. So this is Universal Yarn Uptown DK, which is soft. It's anti-pilling. It's lovely. And so I decided I had enough yarn left. I could make a cowl.
turned out beautiful. I love it.
So I'm really happy
This
with
has
that.
got ski country written all over it, doesn't it?
Exactly,
I can see
exactly.
going down the ski slopes if I skied. I've only
Exactly.
skied one. Have you ever skied?
I did. I think the last time I skied, it was a tow rope, so you had to hold on with
Right.
your hands. My mittens got icy, and I was holding on as tight as I could, and I was slipping backwards down the... So, needless to say, I think that was it.
I think everybody's had a ski story. I talked to you about going skiing about a month ago. I said we should maybe go skiing, and you were like, no. I have skied a few times, Collingwood, and also there's a little ski club in Byron here and around London.
Right.
And no, it's like a hill, like really. considered-
Sometimes they call it the Byron Bump.
Yeah, it's not a big ski hill, but they have called the Baby Hill I think they call it the Baby Hill, and
Yeah.
then there's other bigger hills, but they're
Right.
not really big.
Right.
And so the Baby Hill's quite small. Same thing. I think it was probably the one you went on with the tow rope. It's so small it doesn't even need a ski lift. You just pull up the tow rope
Yeah.
and you go down. But I've tried to really embrace the winter sports, but nothing really has come of it. My son is a big snowboarder.
Right.
He's pretty good at the snowboard,
Exactly.
but that's not something I'd ever really want to do. But this looks like I'd want to go to the ski club with the fireplace, wear this, carry skis, but not ever ski.
Okay. That sounds like a really good plan.
And we'd look good though, wouldn't we?
We would, absolutely.
You could knit us some nice ski sweaters.
Oh, we could be good.
Yeah, we could just look.
Yeah,
the
we'd have to
part.
put a little bit of, so we've got sun
Yeah,
on the
so look at
slopes.
sun.
We have a whole
Maybe,
plan.
oh, I know what we could do. Put a cast on our leg.
Sure, my mom's got something we can borrow.
Yeah.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. All right. Now, this Uptown DK, so I had bought 2 balls of the greeny teal color and 1 of the kind of cream color. And so I made the Anders sweater, I made the Ivor cowl, and I had some yarn left. And I thought, I might have enough left to make a wee hat. So I went back to this one that I'd done before. So this is by Emily Dormier, and it is the Quick Ombre Hat. And I really like this pattern because it ends up doubling up. Now I had to do a little work to make sure it was all good.
It's lovely. I
I'm
love
really
the
happy
color
with
they
that.
use in there too.
Exactly,
The
yeah.
black with them. This is nice.
Exactly.
This is really nice.
So right now we don't have somebody that's the size of the sweater and the hat, but we're going to
We'll
tuck
find
it away.
them. We'll hunt them down.
Exactly. We'll get it all figured out.
Yeah, that's very nice.
So that's that.
I can always sell this stuff in maybe my little booth, or maybe have
Absolutely.
maybe one day have a craft market. We've been kind of going to a few. Well, I have. You really haven't because you've been busy. A few craft markets. So maybe next year that's something we could do to sell our knitwear. I don't know what you do with your knitwear, but
Right.
does anybody sell at a craft market? I don't know.
I
If
know.
you do, let us know and see how it
Exactly.
goes.
All right.
That's
So
cute.
that's
It's an
that.
idea. Yeah.
All right. Now my last two finished objects came about because of this. I was taking some virtual Vogue knitting live, and I was going to take a Tunisian crochet class, which was a beginner class, and then I was ready to register, and somehow that one wasn't there. So I thought, okay. So there was another one that built on Tunisian crochet, and I thought, okay, I'm going to sign up for that. I've got a Craftsy class that I can use. And so in that Craftsy class, it's called Tunisian Crochet for Beginners with Brittany of Bee Hooked Crochet. So one of the patterns when you're learning in that Craftsy class is the shaped headband. And May, you're not much of a hat person.
Right.
So then I thought, well, I can make one for May. So
How did you like the class? Like, was it worthwhile? Did you learn something new?
this class was great, and it really built on the class that I took at Vogue.
Okay.
And it was very helpful because if I hadn't done the work on this, I wouldn't have been in good shape. So
I know you
here's-
always like learning something new.
Exactly. So this is shaped. So you can either have the smaller part at the front or the smaller part at the back. So that was made for you, my dear. And I
Thank
used
you.
James C. Brett Chunky with Merino. So it's 70% acrylic, 20% soft polyamide, and 10% merino wool. So there's no way it's going to be picky, which is good.
This is like a tight knit. Is that what the whole idea of that?
Exactly. So Tunisian crochet, definitely very thick. And so,
This will keep my ears warm. I can't wait to
Exactly.
wear that.
yeah, you like having a headband.
Yeah, I don't like a hat. I would
No.
prefer this any
Perfect.
day. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
All right,
Between
so-
my socks and my headbands, I'm all good.
You're going to be warm all the time. Now, then I thought, I know I've got other wool. Oh, by the way, before I continue, there's one ball. I don't know why I bought two. I bought two, and I probably used half of one. So we've got more of those that I can use.
You could do mitts,
I could.
scarves.
Exactly. So many possibilities. But I had this yarn, and it is called Red Heart Reflective. So I'll let you hold that up. And so I made one that was a little wider for me. And there is a string that goes through the yarn. And we may have to get May to take a picture that's close up. But what it does is it reflects the light. So if you're out for a walk, that's going to reflect in the car lights.
Nice.
Exactly. And I've made hats for people, but I thought I might use a headband, which
Right.
would work well.
Well, and I find everybody's winter coat is black.
Yes.
A raincoat is black.
Exactly.
Because we have tinted windows in our car.
Right.
And it's dark to begin with. Then you go out in the evening and it's pitch black.
Right.
And then if somebody wears a black coat or black pants, you can't
Exactly.
see them.
No, not at all.
And then if it's raining on top of that,
Right.
you've got to be really cautious.
Exactly.
And as the older I get, I don't know about you, Colleen. You're a lot younger than I am.
I'm so much younger than she is. So much younger.
But the older I get, the more difficult I have driving in the evenings.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think that's a
with these
very
tinted
common thing.
windows, it's
Yeah.
just difficult.
Exactly.
Anyway, so this reflective stuff will be awesome. You could knit a
Exactly.
whole. We should knit sweaters or vests for people out there walking with
Exactly.
reflective stuff.
Exactly.
And actually, Colleen and I, and knowing that a couple of years ago, we went out and we bought some reflective vests that they're very light and thin, and you just throw them over your winter coat.
Yeah.
So if we're out in the evening or a little dusk. Then
Right.
people are going to see us. Only
Exactly.
because of that reason, because we can't see. So we're
Right.
just helping those drivers out.
Exactly. Exactly. So those are my finished objects. And May, how about you? What
Well,
do
since you
have?
haven't been around, you've been busy with your
I've been
mother.
in and out. That's what I've been.
Yeah, I did finish the Great Lakes project that I showed last time on the podcast.
It's
And it's
beautiful.
finished with the resin here.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, I'm happy with it, with how it turned out. And,
Right.
I did a little podcast, a little video, I guess, a YouTube video, on how I actually did the process of making
Right,
this.
right.
And then I talked in that video of how, what I would do a little bit differently next
Right,
time. So
right.
if you're interested in seeing that process, make sure you watch that video.
Perfect.
So-
It's beautiful. You did a great job.
Yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out, and I'm looking forward to working more with resin. I don't want to do it right now because of the time of year. I want to be
Right.
able to do it in a well-ventilated area when the garage
Exactly.
door is open.
And-
But my plan is to get some ideas and some things ready
Okay, that's
for
great.
that. For example, I did some, take a picture of these little things.
Okay.
I wanted to experiment with some jewelry. Now here I just used some cheap pine just to
Okay.
play around with it
Right,
to see if I
right.
could do the molds in that. And I like how they turned out, but I'm really excited to be able to use my walnut wood and to
it'd
see
be
what I can
beautiful.
do with jewelry.
Exactly.
Like
It's really good.
experiment with that. So I'm looking forward
Very
to doing
nice.
that with resin. Because on one of the craft shows I did see a lot of jewelries with resin, but
Okay.
they weren't a mix with wood and resin.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I'm looking forward
See,
to mixing
you're
those
unique.
together.
We say that all the time. She's unique.
So I like the Great Lakes so much, and I thought, even over the holiday season, people kind of miss their trailers or their cottages or their RVs. And I used to have, you and I used to have an RV, and a lot of times in the winter you talk about this, your experience in the summer, and you talk
Right.
about the lake and the cottage. And since we're surrounded by lakes, I thought it'd be nice to do some of
Oh, that's
Great
beautiful.
Lake these. Now I am going to put a video up on how I make these also.
Okay, that's great.
And I just scroll saw this out,
Yeah.
put it back on, pour the resin inside,
Wow.
and voila, you have a Christmas
Voila.
ornament or a holiday
Yeah,
ornament.
that's excellent.
And so I did kind of a Canadian one here.
Oh, that's
And,
nice too.
I put in the background of this one, this is clear resin.
Right.
But in the background is, what do you call that material? That's
Buffalo plaid.
buffalo plaid material at the back of that. Now, in one of my videos, I do talk about a little tip, is that you can photocopy your material or your fabric,
Okay.
and that's a good little tip.
Oh,
So
excellent.
if you only have a little piece of fabric, like I had a little piece of plaid, then I photocopy that, and then I can put that behind
Oh, the paper goes behind.
paper. Yeah, the paper instead of the fabric.
Oh my goodness, she's amazing.
Yeah, so there you go.
Very nice.
Then I thought, well, I'll just play around, and then I thought, oh, I'll make some keychains. So I did that with some plaid fabric, the little sheep, and that goes that little keychain thing,
Oh,
and you can
excellent.
use that. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to finish them yet.
Okay.
And that's why they're not quite
Right.
a finished object, but we'll go with that.
We're going to see. They're close. They're close.
We don't have the police here.
No, no.
And so I've been busy doing that type of thing, and I'm looking forward to doing some more crafts over the winter, like different crafts, just because we're inside now as opposed to being in the garage.
Right, absolutely.
And those are my finished objects.
Great. So next we're going to talk about works in progress. My first work in progress is almost done, but it hasn't been blocked. And that is the Souvenir Shawl by Maria Samuelson. And a little bit funny, but this I used, there we go. So this needs to be blocked, and it'll block out nicely. So what I bought was at Feather Your Nest, I got some La Bien Aimée, and this is the Cashmerino.
No wonder it's so soft.
Exactly.
Beautiful
So
yarn.
it's not, that is yarn that comes from France. It's not likely I'm getting there. So this is why I'm joking that this is my souvenir shawl. I got France through Sarnia, and here we go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this will block out nicely, and I like the shorter depth, and then I can do that.
I
So
love this color.
This
I
color
love
is
this.
like a dark tealy blue with a hint of black. Anyway, you'll understand I fell in love with this color.
Yeah, the whole thing is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy
Nice,
with that.
really
So
nice.
I'll block it, and then you'll see the difference. I'll take pictures before and after, and you'll see what's going on with that.
Really nice yarn. I
I'm
love
not
that.
quite sure why I fell in that color, but I definitely did. So my next work in progress is something that is called the Sophie Scarf, and that's by Petite Knit. Now, you will have seen this all over Instagram, and lots of people are making it just a single wrap. Some people make it a double wrap, but I had one skein of La Bien Aimée, but this is their Merino DK. Oh my goodness, the same color. So this is very thin. Let me just grab everything here. It's a thin thing. So I've gone all the way to where it is as big as it goes. And then what I'm doing is I'm using up all the yarn. because I didn't have enough to make 2 because I wanted it to at least go twice.
This is nice. It's very, very thick. Like
It is. It's garter stitch. It's got an I-cord edge, which is lovely. If you have a little bit of DK weight or you want something to make for somebody for Christmas or for Hanukkah, this is perfect. Okay, because it moves quick. It's small, it gets big, and then small. And there is a smaller and a larger size. And they also give you instructions in the pattern on how to make the most of the yarn that you have.
Very nice.
So this, you could either wrap around and just have it high. I think it may end up looking something like this, but not as deep. But I just wanted to use it all up. I didn't want to have a little bit.
No, you want to use that yarn because it's beautiful.
Exactly.
And it makes it feel like you've been to France.
Exactly, exactly. I just have to get a little Eiffel Tower.
That's about as close as we're going to get to France.
Exactly.
You never know.
Eiffel Tower. We'll have a croissant or 2. We'll be in good shape. Alrighty, my last work in progress is something that is called the Schwarm, and that's by Hannah Masiuszka. I apologize. I tried. There it is, and it's beautiful. Now, the yarn that I'm using is the Concept by Katia Silky Lace. It's merino extra fine silk. It is brilliant yarn. And of course, I found this lovely color. So it's kind of a dusty purple. Now, this will need to be blocked out to show. I am using this yarn. It was at the Galt House of Yarn. They had a sample. You just need 2 balls of this. So this is still the first ball. I'm not even on the second one yet. So it's the same repeat that keeps going, and this is reversible, by the way. It's the same on both sides. It's really, really nice, and I think it'll be really nice and warm. It feels so soft.
Well, you know what? It without even touching it, you can tell it's soft. It looks soft because it's got that.
There's a little bit of a haze to it.
Yes,
I really, really like it.
And I like the pattern there. It look like kind of seashells almost from the back here.
Now, this is not taking your mom to the hospital kind of knitting. This is keep your eye on it. Make sure you don't do the wrong thing because it's a lot of things that are through the back loop. Now, some people could handle it no problem, but
not for you.
Not for me. Not when I'm taking care of my mom.
Not when you have to think.
No, exactly. Exactly. So those are my works in progress. And May, how about you?
Well, I've been thinking about things. So what I thought about when I was at these craft shows, I saw these little discs on trees that people had painted, and I like, as you know, we both like to paint.
Exactly.
And I thought that you and I could paint in the winter project. It would be a great craft to do.
Exactly.
So I went on Amazon and I bought a pack of these. I think there's like 30 of these.
Oh my goodness.
And they're great. They're round. They're flat. They're very nice surface. Exactly. You might just have to do a little sanding there with them. Right. And they came with
wool's going away from them.
Oh yes.
There we go.
We've got some twine it came with,
yeah,
and some of this cheap little papery kind of stuff.
Right.
But the discs themselves are
really, really nice.
And they come with a hole already drilled in. Not that I would have minded drilling a hole in.
You do like your power tools.
Yes, but you know, it's an added bonus,
right.
And then you and I could just concentrate on what we're going to paint.
Exactly.
So I'm excited to get that craft going when you've got some time, or we both have some time.
Exactly.
I'm not quite sure whether to use Sharpie marker for some detail or to use acrylic paint. I'm not sure.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Why not?
Voila.
So that's kind of my work in progress.
Very good.
Not very far along yet.
All right. So that's our works in progress, and next we're going to talk about our adventure.
As I mentioned in the beginning, our adventure took us to Meaford in the summer, and that is in between Collingwood and Owen Sound area. It's right on the coast of Georgian Bay. It's right on the really beautiful little spot to go to. We had a lovely little lunch there. We got to visit the yarn store, which is
called Purrsonally Yours.
And they have yarn, and they had
fabric,
lots of fabric, clean, nice store.
Yeah.
And the lady there is
her name is Isabel. So let me talk a little bit about the store.
It's been a little while since we've been there.
There's been so many things going on,
but we hadn't put that podcast up, and so this is a perfect opportunity.
Right. So it is called Purrsonally Yours. It used to be 2 stores. It used to be a yarn store, and it used to be a fabric store. And what happened was the person that was doing the yarn store was leaving it, and so Isabel ended up with both. And so there's lots of fabric. There's lots of neat quilts, lots of those kind of things. And the yarn itself, there's lots of sock yarn, which I loved looking at all the sock yarn. She's got some Briggs and Little workhorse kind of yarns, and she has her puppy there, who's not is an old puppy, and the dog's name is Lena. And Lena just kind of sat off to the room and was just having
her own couch at the window there. Was happy to lark. You know, I've got some.
Exactly.
I can put some photos in of that,
fantastic.
and then we'll come back and talk about it.
So that's Personally Yours. I had a wonderful time. Isabel was great. She explained some things, and we knew we were going to head off to the miniature store, and she didn't know we were going, and she said, oh, by the way, if you like miniatures, you should go. So it's a nice community, and all the businesses support each other.
It was a beautiful little place to shop down that whole street there.
Exactly.
So it was great. Yep.
Exactly. So I really enjoyed Personally Yours.
Yes.
Yes, and thank you,
And
Isabel.
I liked it too.
Yeah, exactly. We had a good
Isn't that
time.
Irish Spring commercial? And I liked it too. Anyway, yeah, it was a great store. So then we left there and we walked down the street and just down towards the bay part.
Mm-hmm.
There's a house there, and it's the Georgian Bay Miniatures. And what happens is the lady there, her name is Sue. She and her husband run the miniature place.
Mm-hmm.
We probably should call before because I'm not sure that her hours, because it's operating
Right.
out the back of her home.
Right.
It was actually the back of her. It was like a
bunkhouse.
bunkhouse or a, she had a pool, so it was like a pool house.
Right.
And they converted that into where she had her miniatures and
Right.
that type of thing. So they have actually people in her miniature store that has a 3D printer that prints off some things for her.
Exactly.
So
Now
that's
she
really cool.
started it in 2018, and then of course COVID hit, and so she was just bouncing back.
Right.
Exactly. And the day we were there was the day that Rogers went out, so there was no credit cards, no debit, no
Right.
anything. So fortunately we had a little cash, so we were able to handle it. But she
Right.
was she felt so bad for everybody. So
Right.
and she managed it well.
I forgot all about that, but
Yeah.
but it wasn't even that big of an issue.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is put some pictures and some video up of that and
Perfect.
then before I describe it, because you can't really describe the uniqueness and
Right.
the workmanship and the product that's there.
Exactly.
So I'll put the video in and then we'll come right
Perfect.
back. Well, I'm sure you saw that stuff is amazing, and the workmanship is
wonderful.
unbelievable. So it's worth a trip to go there, and I highly recommend it. Actually, the whole place, the whole little town is a great trip for the summer, I would imagine.
Exactly. And the neat thing is, when we were at the Georgian Bay Miniatures, there were grandparents with their granddaughter, and they were trying to set her up with something. So she
Right.
had bought somewhere else, had bought a little...
Well, actually, she sells the kits. I don't know about that story, but she actually sells the kits of little suitcases.
Right.
And then the miniature stuff inside the suitcase.
Right.
And you close up the suitcase and you've
Right.
got a whole miniature thing.
So I think this young lady had bought something like that little suitcase, and they were just, she was trying to figure out some components that she could get to put in it.
It was a great idea.
They were so excited. The grandparents were excited, and the young lady was very, very excited.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, so we had a great time. So thank you to Purrsonally Yours and to Georgian Bay Miniatures, and next we're going to talk about our souvenirs. Before we talk about souvenirs, I do need to talk about my mom. Hello, Maureen. How are you? So on Remembrance Day, actually, you and I were sitting watching TV. 4:30, the phone rings, and it is the Longworth Retirement Home telling me that my mom had had a fall. So she'd fallen, and they'd sent her to the hospital. They weren't sure exactly which hospital. They thought they were going to go to Victoria Hospital, which is the one that they did. Now, what happens right now with waits, and if the person doesn't get a bed in emergency, you can't go down to see them. You have to wait till they're actually in a spot.
Is that because of COVID? Or because they don't want it crowded down there?
Probably they don't want to crowd it down there. It was just awkward, the whole thing. Anyway, at the end of it all, we won't go through all the details. When I finally got to speak to the doctor said she's got fractures on her cheek.
Oh.
She's got a broken finger, and she broke her arm.
Wrist.
Or her wrist. I guess her wrist. It's a little further down, but yeah, broke her wrist. So I'm thinking, well, what happened? So in talking to my mom, she's not quite sure, except she had something in each hand, and she thinks her toe caught on the carpet, and she just went down flat. So we have had a lot of doctor's appointments. We went to one last week that was dealing with the finger, which we found out now was not broken, which is good because now we can do some physio on that. And we found out, yes, there were fractures, but they weren't displaced, so there was no need to do surgery. That's great. Then we went to the other orthopedic clinic to deal with the wrist, and what was nice is they had put on this big heavy plaster cast originally, and then they put on an acrylic fiberglass one, which is much lighter. So it's been 2 weeks, but it seems like it's been a month.
It does seem like a long time, but
Exactly.
but Colleen's kind of the primary caregiver. You're
Yeah.
there 3 times a day because she can't cut up her food, she can't medications.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what like it is.
Exactly.
And anyway, I think we should put some pictures up of your mom
Right.
because you need to see how severe this was.
Right.
And anyway, we'll put those pictures up
Yeah.
and then we'll come back.
Yeah, and my sister and my brother, my sister came down and had to go back and then came back again, which was great. So we've kind of been tag teaming about taking care of my mom. So I'm hoping that as she gets more comfortable, we're able to get her moving a
Right.
little bit more and working on that.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
I was going to say your sister's been a great help for
Yeah,
her coming.
absolutely.
She's come from Ottawa.
Yeah.
She stays for a few days and then goes
Yeah,
back,
absolutely.
and then she has actually done that trip twice.
Yes,
which has been
absolutely.
really helpful and
Yeah.
gave you a little bit of a break.
Exactly.
And anyway, so that's been kind of the ordeal, and so we apologize
Exactly.
that we haven't been getting things
Yeah.
done. But you know how life is, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's a lot of you out there that have been in the same boat where you've had to be the caregiver.
Exactly.
for
And I
an
do
elderly
have
parent.
to say, my mom said, you can show them my picture. Because
Yes.
you need to tell them that it's my fault that you're not doing your podcast. I said, Mom, they're going to be fine. It's okay. No, you tell them. I'm like, okay, I've officially told them. So if my mom's watching, Maureen, your bidding
Yeah.
is done. So
And I feel good talking about it now because now she's on the med. But
Right.
at the time, it's like a mid crisis. Like it's a
Right.
crisis where you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out what exactly
Yeah.
is broken, what exactly has happened.
Exactly.
You're in crisis mode, and now
Exactly.
it's where we can actually talk about it because she is on the med, which is a good thing.
And the good thing is, when we were at the hospital on Friday, the doctor said, we'll see you in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So
that's
there's
great.
nothing more as far as the hospital goes, which is fantastic.
Right. So
All right, so now we just got to get her up and going and moving. So we will do that. So anyway, so let's talk about souvenirs. Alrighty, so fabric store, yarn store, guess what I had to buy? Fabric and yarn. So let's talk about yarn first of all. So what I found was this lovely yarn. It's called Wacky Saki, And it is merino, bamboo, and nylon by Wisdom Yarns. And the neat thing is on the inside, it shows you what it's going to knit up like. So there's what it's going to look like.
Nice.
I'm really looking
I like
forward
the
to it.
photo. That's handy.
That's really
I've
helpful.
never seen that before.
Exactly. So I really like that. So I'm looking forward to making a pair of socks.
Nice.
Socks are good knitting while I'm at my mom's.
That comes different in a different.
Exactly.
way.
Yeah, I really like that. So I did that first. Then I found some lovely fabric.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Oh, I really like this.
Wow.
So anyway,
I love this.
I know.
fabric.
So what needs to happen in my life is I start using my stash of fabric and my stash of yarn. But you find a new piece of fabric, and even May will go, "Oh, did you see
that
this?
fabric?
It's
Yeah,
beautiful."
It really is nice.
So I really, really like that. So it hasn't even had a bath yet, but it will have a. I'll wash it so that it gets some of the sizing up.
And a
then we'll
project
clean up.
bag in mind for that?
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
for sure.
Very nice.
All right. Now, the other thing is I picked up some embroidery needles because I kept breaking the other ones. So these are Clover Golden Eye embroidery needles. And then I did ask Isabel what her favorite notion was, and she mentioned this, which is a drop stitch rescue keychain. Now, I liked the idea that this was a keychain. So it has a 2mm hook, crochet hook on one side, and then the other end of it is a 3.5mm. So that's going to be really, really helpful. But I like the keychain idea.
Right.
Exactly.
That might be hard when it's in your pocket, though. You wouldn't want to sit on
Ooh, that could be painful. But you know what? I could hook it onto a project bag.
That's good. The keychain doesn't have to be in your pocket.
Correct.
It can be other
That's
places.
right.
There you go.
So those are my souvenirs. And May, how about you?
Well, you know what? The Georgian Bay Miniature Store, I did pick up some wheels. I've been looking for wheels at miniature stores. I can't find them anywhere.
Yeah.
I know those people out there that have a laser cutter could
Right.
probably laser cut some. I cut some with my scroll saw.
Right.
Smaller than this because I
Right.
got some discs off the internet.
Right.
But I haven't used them yet. So
Okay.
we'll see how that goes. And I got some other things in there, but I can't really remember what they were. And I have bought other things, so
I
I
know.
didn't want to say, but they're... I did buy some other things because you can't help it in that store. It was
I know.
awesome.
It's a great
So
store.
those were a great buy, though. I like that. And as you know, I've talked about me going to little craft stores because it's that time of year and everybody's got their crafts out. And I went to one and I couldn't help it, but the lady there, she was so nice. She was talking about all her woodworking that she and her husband did. And then there she had these little hats,
Oh,
these
those
little
are cute.
hats. And I thought, I got to show these little knitted hats on our podcast. I think
Exactly.
back in the day, people used to make these.
Right.
Make them out of a toilet paper roll
Oh,
somehow.
wow.
I'll have to figure out how to do that.
Right.
Kind enough, she was giving them out for free.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
So I went to another craft store a few weeks later, and they were selling them for $3
Oh,
each.
well, you got a bargain.
I got a bargain. She was nice there
That's
for her
really
to give
good.
it that for free. And then I went and I got this. It's to
Oh,
hang.
this is so cute.
Now this is really cute, and this was laser cut also from one
Right.
of those laser machines.
Yep.
And inside the nose fits a Lindor candy. So
Oh
there you go.
my goodness, that's
and then you
wonderful.
hang that up, and I think that'd be a really nice gift to
Yeah.
give to somebody.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and I can use this as a pattern, and I could use that, just cut that out in the scroll saw
Right,
rather
right.
than the laser. So that's partly why I got that.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, so I've been having a little bit of fun, but I've been missing you, of course.
I know.
Meals and shopping, but we're getting there.
We are getting there, that's for sure.
And the important thing is your mom is on the mend. So
Absolutely. So thank you so much for watching. If you're liking what you're seeing, give us a thumbs up, comment down below. Let us know if there's any crafts you'd like us to try, if there's any patterns that you'd like to see, or there's something else you'd like us to do, because we really enjoy doing this for you. And subscribe, because that helps us with our podcast channel. So until next time,
you take care.